The Life and Legacy of Rei Hamond. In the heart of New Zealand's wild landscapes, where ancient forests whisper stories of the past, Rei Hamond found his calling. Born on December 17, 1919 in Gisborne, Rei Paul Hamond, known simply as Rei, was the eldest of 14 children in a family deeply rooted in the land. His father, of part Maori heritage, and his Pākehā mother instilled in him a deep respect for nature and a love for storytelling that would later become central to his art. Growing up in the rugged East Cape region, Rei's early years were shaped by the rhythms of rural life. As a young man, he worked as a shearer and a forest labourer, immersing himself in the untamed beauty of New Zealand's native bush. This intimate connection with the land, its flora and fauna, became the cornerstone of his creative vision. From a young age, Rei displayed a natural aptitude for observation. While others might see a forest as a backdrop, Rei noticed its intricate details: the pattern of bark on a kahikatea tree, the flutter of a tiwaiwaka fantail in the undergrowth, and the shifting play of light through dense foliage. His father, a practical man of few words, would often take him on hunting trips, during which young Rei found himself more captivated by the beauty of the bush than the hunt itself. One particular memory stood out for Rei: a misty morning in the bush when he saw a tui perched on a branch, its iridescent feathers catching the light. This moment left a deep impression, shaping his lifelong fascination with birds and light. He later said, "That morning taught me to look closer, to see the extraordinary in the ordinary." Rei developed into a strong, physically fit man as he grew up. He worked hard as a shearer and forest worker. Rei supported his new wife and expanding family through a practical life before turning to art. It was while working as a forestry worker, spending many hours in the bush and forests, Rei developed a profound understanding of the landscapes that would eventually become his canvas. He was also able to observe firsthand the ecological changes taking place in the New Zealand bush during this stage of his life. It was at this time in the bush that fired up his passion for conservation. The work in the bush was grueling, and the task of felling ancient trees like kauri, rimu, and other native trees weighed heavily on his spirit. These majestic trees, some hundreds of years old, were being harvested for timber with little thought of regeneration or the ecosystems they supported. Day after day, Rei witnessed the destruction of these pristine environments. He watched as bird habitats were destroyed and entire hillsides were stripped bare. The sight of the once vibrant bush reduced to stumps and silence left him deeply troubled. He often spoke of the emptiness that followed the fall of a great tree, a feeling that began to consume him. One pivotal moment came when he felled a towering rimu tree, its massive trunk crashing to the ground. As the dust settled, Rei noticed a pair of native birds circling the area where the tree had stood. Their calls, once joyful, now seemed mournful. It was then he realized he could no longer be part of the destruction. With a heavy heart, Rei left his job in forestry, vowing to dedicate his life to preserving the beauty of the natural world rather than contributing to its loss. This decision marked the beginning of his journey as an artist. Through his work, Rei sought to capture the essence of the bush he loved, preserving its beauty on paper and inspiring others to see its value. Rei started his artistic journey by drawing with a ballpoint pen. Rei's use of pointillism went beyond aesthetics. It became his way of conveying the intricacies of nature. After seeing Rei's early work, an Auckland artist and gallery owner realized he had potential and talent. He provided Rei with support materials and guidance to help him advance his artistic pursuits. Rei's art consequently saw a significant improvement and became highly sought after by collectors and buyers from all backgrounds. As Rei's work at his new artistic venture, Rei's family life was as central to his identity as his art. He and his wife, who shared his love for nature, raised 14 children. His home was a lively and creative space, where his children often observed his meticulous process and occasionally contributed their own creative ideas. As a member of a local church, Rei's faith influenced his art. He saw the natural world as a divine creation and believed in the importance of stewardship. This perspective added a spiritual dimension to his work, inviting viewers to see the sacred in the everyday creation. He created the meticulous and captivating pointillism technique for his artwork, with varying sizes and densities of dots, using fine-tipped pens and an almost obsessive precision. He created works that seemed to pulse with life. Each piece could take weeks or months to complete, with Rei meticulously layering thousands of dots and sometimes even millions to build depth and texture. Rei created depth, light, and texture. From a distance, his works appeared almost photographic, but up close, each dot revealed the dedication and patience behind the piece. He described the process as meditative, a way to connect with the land he loved. Through pointillism, Rei captured the ethereal quality of New Zealand's bush, the shafts of light breaking through the canopy, the soft shadows of undergrowth, the delicate details of a fern unfurling. Rei not only introduced pointillism to the New Zealand art world, he became the master of the technique, using a range of fine-tipped pens, often experimenting with the thickness of nibs to achieve various effects. He applied dots so carefully that viewers often mistook his works for photographs from a distance. By adjusting the density and size of dots, Rei could emulate light streaming through trees, mist settling over a forest, or the subtle shadows of underbrush. This atmospheric quality gave his works a lifelike, almost ethereal presence. Some of Rei's larger pieces measured several feet across, requiring months of intense focus. He would break his day into sessions, working meticulously for hours to maintain consistency and clarity. Rei Hamond's art wasn't just a celebration of nature. He used his art to highlight the importance of preserving New Zealand's native forests and wildlife. His works became central to conservation campaigns across New Zealand to take action. His works became symbols of what stood to be lost if conservation efforts were not prioritized. In the Coromandel region, his depictions of pristine forests helped rally public support against logging. Cathedral of the Bush, one of his most iconic works, symbolized the spiritual connection many felt with the land. This masterpiece portrays the grandeur of New Zealand's native forests. Towering trees form a natural cathedral, with shafts of sunlight breaking through the canopy to create a divine atmosphere. The piece invites reflection, evoking the spiritual connection many feel when immersed in nature. Cathedral of the Bush is often regarded as a visual hymn to the land, blending Rei's artistic talent with his spiritual beliefs. It has been widely exhibited and remains a favorite among collectors and environmental advocates. Two other pieces by Rei that were well liked by the art and conservation communities were Haven of the Birds and Jewels of Okarito. The delicate balance of life within the ecosystems of New Zealand is the main focus of this work. In the midst of blossoming trees, native birds such as the tui and kereroo are portrayed, their vivid plumage punctuating the lush vegetation surroundings. The artwork emphasizes the significance of protecting wildlife habitats by highlighting the connections between plants and animals. Rei's other well-known piece is Haven of the Birds. The variety of native birds in New Zealand is celebrated in this piece. From the soft colors of the kereroo to the iridescent feathers of the tui, every bird is depicted with astounding accuracy. The sense of place is enhanced by the native flowers and trees in the background. The message in this piece encourages efforts to save native bird populations by highlighting the significance of habitat conservation. Rei was a vocal advocate for the preservation of New Zealand's native bushlands and native birds. Just some of his efforts were as follows. Coromandel forest advocacy. His art was used in campaigns to prevent logging in the Coromandel region, an area rich in biodiversity. His detailed depictions of the region's forests helped rally public support for conservation efforts. In the Waitakere Ranges, Rei collaborated with local conservation groups to raise awareness about the ecological significance of the Waitakere Ranges. His works were featured in brochures and exhibitions, drawing attention to the threats posed by urban development. He also was involved in raising awareness of endangered birds. Rei's art often highlighted the plight of New Zealand's native bird species, many of which faced extinction due to habitat loss and introduced predators. Kokako campaigns. His portrayal of the kokako, a bird with hauntingly beautiful calls, was instrumental in fundraising efforts to protect its habitat. Kiwi conservation. Rei's works, celebrating the kiwi, New Zealand's national icon, were used in campaigns to protect and save this national bird from extinction. Rei's artworks helped change the face of conservation in New Zealand. Rei Hamond's impact went well beyond New Zealand. His pieces were shown in international exhibitions ranging from UNESCO's Environmental Art Summit to Australia's Guardians of the Earth. Artists from all over the world were impressed by his ability to combine technical mastery with a sincere environmental message. When Queen Elizabeth II received Rei's lithograph Jewels of Okarito in 1976, it was one of his proudest moments. Even with the widespread praise, Rei maintained his modesty, frequently saying, "I'm just a man who loves the bush." Rei Hamond's legacy endures today. From reforestation projects to predator-free initiatives, his artwork continues to inspire conservation efforts. His impact is evident in the eco-art movement, which promotes environmental sustainability through artists' creations. In order to ensure that future generations can appreciate the wonder and message of Rei's art, his family has preserved his creations. Rei's vision of an environment where people value nature is still very much alive and well through exhibitions, digital archives, and educational initiatives. Rei Hamond once said, "The bush speaks to those who listen." Through his art, he taught us not just to see, but to truly listen, to the whispers of leaves, the calls of birds, and the silent plea of a world worth saving. His legacy reminds us that every dot matters, just as every action we take can contribute to preserving the beauty around us. This was the story of Rei Hamond, artist, conservationist, and guardian of New Zealand's natural heart. Written and produced by Max Lyons, Artist, New Zealand. This audiobook is subject to all applicable copyright laws and may not be reproduced without the prior consent of the author.